Hello, welcome to Shayna-Mae OG Trans Gal. Thanks for joining the channel and having a look at my life's journey. And this channel didn't start out as with the intention of me detransitioning on YouTube. It's just sort of been an evolution, if you will. I was exploring my life. I was trying to get the timeline of my life figured out by talking into a camera. And in the process, as a transgender person, I was looking back at my life, trying to sort out like this equation of what made me transition, what caused me to be transgender. And as I was figuring that out and telling my life story, I was developing a lot of theories. And but I was also doing that while still on estrogen. And during the process, I had, over the 30 days that I'd started the channel, I had one of these big uh, depressing moments happen again in my life. And this depression is something that I began to realize had only started ever since I started the estrogen and the testosterone blocker. And in a moment of desperation, I decided that I needed a break from transition. I needed to feel what it felt like just to get back closer to what I once was before I changed so much about my life. And I was not expecting the outcome to be where we are today. So today is 21 days without estrogen and nearly 3 months without testosterone blocker. Now, before I give you the update of how I'm feeling today and what I feel is changing in me, I also want to take a moment and give credit to a very good friend of mine, and a few people have made some comments that, basically caused me to pause, take a break from the channel, go back and watch my videos and really digest what they said, because I thought, here's a teachable moment for me. My dad used to say, if 3 people say it's raining outside, take an umbrella. Well, there was sort of an underlying theme to what some of the commenters had left in the comment section and what my friend had said to me. He said, you're very intelligent, you're well spoken, but you're also really insecure. And he said to me, my friend, you're one of the most insecure people I know. And he says, your problem is you are smart, but you don't realize that you're insecure and how much it's kind of taking you away from your true potential. And when I read what the comments had said, a couple people had said, listen, on some of the stuff, you don't know what you're talking about. Why don't you stick to the things you do know about? Because it's, and this is me sort of, reading into it. You're a lot more interesting when you stick to what you know, but when you go on these exposés and, you're trying to come off like an expert, you're basically losing credibility. And I had to really think about that, and I realized, yeah, that is something I'm doing. I'm so insecure about what people think about me, and I'm trying to sort of control the narrative rather than just letting it show that I don't know what I'm talking about on certain things, and I'm trying to figure it out. So I figure before we continue on with the channel, I'll tell you guys what I'm an expert in: the movie business. And I have a very niche market in the movie business. I make movie props. I've worked on over 300 films, making props that light up, gizmos, gadgets, and I've had years of set construction, set design, event, stage scenery, stuff like that. I'm a fabricator and an artist by trade. And as a hobbyist, I'm sort of a speed junkie. I like driving fast cars, and I like building fast cars. I like collecting cars. I love owning tools, and that's where I have my expertise, and that's where I have a lot of knowledge that could actually, be relied on. You can rely on my knowledge. If you want to know how to machine something, I can give you a really good direction to go. If you want to know how to weld something, I can give you some really good tips. Mold making, 3D printing. I have a ton of knowledge in those fields. And in a few of those fields, I would say I'm at the level of expertise. But even a lot of my hobbies it's a work in progress. I'm always learning, always learning. And so this vlogging thing and anything I've ever said about uh, the brain or male, female, neuroscience, I don't know shit. Okay, that's important that you guys understand that, and I want to thank my friend and the people who made me aware of that in the comment sections, because I thought at 53 years old, don't I just want to be okay with who I am? So thank you guys. Thank you for pointing that out to me. It really meant a lot to me, and I think it opened up a door for me to kind of step further into reality and just enjoy my life today, and be grateful for who I am. And even this experience of transition and now detransition, I want to embrace this as a time of learning and sharing. You know, I'm not an expert on transition or detransition. I'm just sharing my story, and with zero expertise in the subject matter. I'm just telling you what I'm experiencing and what I'm going through. So if you're here looking for advice on whether or not to transition or detransition, or what to do with a young adult or child in your life, this is probably only going to confuse you more, because I'm sorting out my own confusions, and I'm looking for answers. So if you want to hear about my life, I will get more into that again, because I think it's a fascinating story. I think the more interesting thing versus my being transgender for all these years was being raised in the foster care system, living in an orphanage, getting adopted, battling my own drug addiction and alcoholism, building a business, getting married, and sorting out a career change at 53. That's the authentic sense of who I am and where I'm at. And there was a really long fog in my life, and that was the years of transition and all that came with it. And occasionally, and for now, that's where we're at. We're talking about that chapter in my life, but this chapter will close, and I'll move forward and share more of my life with you, of what I'm getting back to after the detransition process has had some time to bring more awareness to me. So where am I at with 21 days off of the estrogen? I think I kind of summarized it. I'm beginning to realize I'm in a place in my life where I've got some sorting out to do. But as far as the effects of not having the estrogen in my system, what am I recognizing? For the good and the bad, that some of the gender dysphoria is coming back. I'm getting kind of anxious, and I'm kind of, that sense of longing to be something other than male is sort of representing itself. But that's familiar, because I had that as a teenager, I had that all through my 20s, and I was still able to live a very functional life. So that feeling's back, but now that I kind of know what happens when you act upon that feeling and take estrogen, I don't see myself going back on the estrogen. I'm beginning to have less reservation about living my life male again, like without feminizing my brain. So that's kind of a positive thing, but it's got some I'm a little anxious about how that's all going to go. Now I'm super aware of the fact that I've got boobs. The boobs had become something that I just, at first it was very like, oh my gosh, look at me, I'm becoming a girl. And then after a few years, you don't even realize you've got them anymore. But now that I'm getting back to living as a guy, now I'm really aware that I've got them, and that's causing me some insecurity and some discomfort, because I'm worried about people seeing them and what they think. But I just got to accept that's the outcome, and maybe start exercising and do what I can to minimize them a little bit. I do see that I'm sleeping really well in these past few weeks. My sleep patterns have improved. I get to the end of the day, I'm just ready to go to bed. I have less anxiety at nighttime, which I didn't even realize that I was so anxious for all those years before going to bed. But now my sleep habit went from staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning, and 10:30 rolls around, I just want to crawl in bed, put on a little Netflix, and just fall asleep. And I'm waking up like I'm more alert and ready to take on the day. Now there's a weight to it, because I've got a lot going on in my life that I wish weren't going on. I wish I wasn't closing my company. I wish there weren't a strike in Hollywood. But that's life. I wake up, and I'm more alert and ready to kind of take on the day, even though I don't like what I'm doing every day as far as pricing all my equipment to sell and dissolve my corporation. It sucks, but it'll pass. My appetite seems to be returning in a way that I don't know. I'm eating a lot. Man, I can eat 3 or 4 meals a day, and I haven't felt that way in a long time. There was something strange with how the estrogen affected my appetite. Like I could eat just a little bit and I would feel full, but I think it may have been also a little bit of a worry that, I didn't want to, I wanted to get as skinny as possible to give myself a smaller frame, because I'm 6'3". I used to take up a doorway. I used to weigh 296 pounds, and I'd gotten down to like 195, I think. But who knows? I don't know. But I'm just eating again. I'm kind of filling out again. It's interesting not putting on makeup every day, because I realize I'm getting like a whole hour of my day back between the very careful shaving and face maintenance and moisturizing and putting on the makeup. I'm more, I have more freedom in my life just to get up and start my day. I'm still wearing mostly women's attire out in public because of the shape of my body, and because so many people have known me as dressing like a woman. And that's also like all the clothes I've got are women's clothes. But I put on an old work shirt today, and I found my old glasses. I'm wearing those more often. So I'm getting more comfortable with the original design of me. But it's been a long time since I've seen this side of me. And I don't know, I feel like it's time to welcome the guy back into my life and just embrace it again. And so that's kind of where I'm at day 21. I don't have any answers today. That's just a little bit of an update. I'm sleeping well. I'm eating like a horse. I've got more energy. I'm suddenly aware of how much physical strength I lost over the years. But that could also be because I'm in my 50s. But man, it's crazy. Now I'm feeling like the need to, not the need, I want to work out and get some muscle back, some tone back. I kind of want to get that walk tall, proud chested thing back. And that's a new feeling, because for years I was trying to really, really embrace femininity, and it just never quite fit. And my old life seems like a better fit. That's where I'm at today. And this is day 21. I'm praying a lot. And it's interesting that without the fog of the hormones, I feel that the prayers are more authentic. I feel like I'm really reaching for peace and guidance from God. And I'm beginning to see for myself where the hormones and the insecurities and the uncertainty that came with it, like, really took me away from that spiritual connection to God. Like, I felt like I had like an energy between me and God that just slowly faded away after a while. And now I feel that the connection's there. I keep, asking God for help. I keep asking God to guide me home, to help me figure this life out. And I'm also excited about becoming my wife's husband again. Now, at home and in our personal relationship, I've always assured her that I'm still her husband. But I'm beginning to realize how difficult it must have been for her to walk down the street with somebody that looked like a tall trans woman when she was used to this tall, fit man, that she would be on my arm, and she had her man. And then there I was suddenly wearing the same clothes and the makeup she was, and the loving soul that she is, she supported me. And now I look forward to getting back, to my wife as her husband, and being her big strong man, walking down the street with her, taking care of her. And also want to let you guys know that a few years ago I moved out of California, even though I still run my business here for now. It's going to end very soon, about a month from now. But I bought a home in a very conservative region of the United States, in a very conservative community, in a very conservative state, because I have always held the values of conservative America close to my heart. As much as I used to say that I'm socially liberal, fiscally conservative, and I moved to a community that supported more Christian conservative ideology. And boy, have I felt like a round peg in a square hole up there for the past few years. And so I think that it's exciting for me to know that this time when I go home, I'll walk out as a man amongst men, and I'll be living in a community, not as an outsider. Because the one thing that presenting as female in this community, it did draw looks. It draw looks towards me and towards my wife. And now we will be able to feel more at home in the community and a part of the community, because I'm getting back to who I once was. And now that I've gone on this transgender journey, I feel like I'm coming home again. I think I'm returning home to my wife, home to my family, home to God, and home to me. You know, that the embodiment, who I am, is being revealed to me one day at a time right now. And I'll come back here. I don't know if I can do it every day right now, but I'll definitely update you guys within the next few days of the things that I'm changing or see changing in my life. And I'll definitely try to not pretend to be an expert in something that I'm not. And I like to share a little bit more of what I do day in and day out, because I think the next interesting phase of my life, the next interesting chapter is, what do I do with my past experiences and skills to build a new life and make a new living as a detransitioner, and really recognizing as well that I don't necessarily know that I would have lost my business in the way that I did had I not disrupted the man who built it. And for that, I accept full responsibility for it, but I'm glad I'm back to being me, to see what I can do with the pieces that are left behind and where this journey is going to take me moving forward. Thanks everybody who's subscribing to the channel. Thank you for the wonderful comments and the support through this whole process. Crazy ride we're on, folks. Crazy times, and I'm glad to be just reconnecting with reality. God bless you all.